Hi ma'am and sir, my name is Mega Victoria Real Masira and now I'm going to present my proposal with the title Correlational Study between Students' Habit in Watching English Movie and Their Vocabulary Knowledge in English Education Study Program at Patimura University. Vocabulary is a central part of language that is needed to understand what people said and written. According to Cameron 2001 and cited in Olkatani 2015, vocabulary has an important role for learners in acquiring a language. Without mastering vocabulary, obviously students can grasp the meaning in both oral and written form. The more vocabulary they know, the more they master in listening, reading, speaking, and writing skill. According to British Broadcasting Corporation, students have to master 800 to 1000 vocabulary to understand a foreign language. Unfortunately, many EFL students lack this micro skill. For example, a study that conducted in Taiwan showed that half of students fail to learn 1000 vocabulary even though they have been studying English for 9 years. In this case, it can be simply said that most of students still have problem in their vocabulary. To solve this problem, students need learning strategy. According to O'Malley and Shamot 1993, a cited in Saptika et al. 2019, learning strategy is the special thought or action that people use to help them comprehend, learn, or maintain the new information that they got. It implies that students can freely choose the strategy they want to use as long as the strategy can help them in learning process and they can enjoy it. Based on preliminary study with some of the fourth semester students in English Education Study Program, the researcher found out that most of students use English movie as one of their strategy in learning English. They like watching English movie and they enjoy it a lot. In addition, they said that their frequency in watching English movie is about 3 until 5 times a week. From this statement, the researcher concluded that most of them have a habit in watching English movie. According to Twyman 2009 and cited in Pratama 2016, the habit of watching English movie provides opportunities to acquire language about vocabulary. Furthermore, Pratama also claimed that based on his teaching experience in English First Course Bandar Lampung, he found that students who have habit in watching English movie have higher vocabulary size than those who do not. In relation to the fact above, there are previous studies regarding to students' habit in watching English movie in correlation to their vocabulary. One of them was conducted in SMA Negeri 1 Banton Nompo Selatan Goa Regency by Saiful et al. 2019. The sample of this study was only 20 students. The second study was conducted by Pratama in Bandar Lampung. The sample of this study was 30 students. Unfortunately, both of the studies above had limited sample size. Frankel and Wallen 1993 asserted more than 30 sample size are eligible for conducting a correlational study. Hence, in this research, the researcher will use a large sample size in order to make the research be more eligible. Similarly, the researcher will be focused on the correlation between college students' habit in watching English movie and their vocabulary knowledge. Based on the reason above, the researcher is interested to conduct the research entitled Correlational Study Between Students' Habit in Watching English Movie and Their Vocabulary Knowledge in English Education Study Program at Patimura University. There are 3 research questions in this research. The first one is, how is the English study program students' habit in watching English movie? The second one is, what is the vocabulary knowledge level of English study program students? And the last one is there any positive and significant correlation between students' habit in watching English movie and their vocabulary knowledge? While the hypothesis of this research is there is a positive and significant correlation between students' habit in watching English movie and their vocabulary knowledge. The next chapter is review of literature. In this chapter, the researcher will talk about the essence of vocabulary as the basic component in language learning, the role of vocabulary, strategies to develop EFL learners' vocabulary, the essence of students' learning habit in using English movie, correlation between students' habit in watching English movie and vocabulary knowledge, empirical review, and conceptual framework. Let's move to the next part is research method. The research method that will be used in this study is correlation method. Actually, this study will take place in English Education Study Program at Pattimura University, but because of COVID-19, this study may be conducted via online. For the population, the researcher will take students of English Education Study Program academic year 2019 who join academic listening, academic reading, and academic speaking class. And in determining the sample size, the researcher will use total sampling technique. So the researcher will take all the population as the sample. From the data, it is reported that there are 47 students that enroll in those classes. Next is variable of the study. There are two variables of the study. The first one is independent variable and the last one is dependent variable. The independent variable of this study is students' habit in watching English movie, while the dependent variable in this study is students' vocabulary knowledge. In collecting the data, there are two kinds of instruments that will be used by the researcher. The first one is questionnaire and the last one is vocabulary test. The questionnaire contains of 14 statements and it is divided into 3 parts. The first one is student frequency in watching English movie. The second one is students' automaticity in watching English movie. And the last one is students' repetition in watching English movie. While for the vocabulary test, the researcher will use English vocabulary in use advanced level test that is adopted by Cambridge University 2008. Next is validity and reliability of the instrument. To measure the validity and reliability of the instrument, the researcher did a tryout to 30 students of English Education Study Program. And from the data, it shows that 14 items in the questionnaire were valid, which values more than 0.361 with the significant level 0.05 as suggested by our table. And for the vocabulary test, it showed that 25 items were valid, which values more than 0.361 with the significant level 0.05 as suggested by our table. And you can see the detail on the slide. While for the reliability, it showed that the questionnaire is reliable with the result of alpha crowd-match formula was 0.868 and the vocabulary test is reliable too with the result of alpha crowd-match formula was 0.827. Next is technique of analyzing data. The method of the data analysis will be divided into two. There are descriptive statistic analysis and inferential statistic analysis. Descriptive statistic analysis is used to find out students' habit in watching English movie and students' vocabulary knowledge, while inferential statistic analysis is used to identify the correlation between the two variables. You can see the formula on the slide. So I think that's all and thank you.